I need to slope my bed by raising my headboard, so I use riser blocks. I made 2 sets of 4 blocks which are all interchangeable and have pegs that hold them together. Here's how I did it. This is a 2x6 piece of cedar, and I'm going to be cutting it into smaller slices of 6 inches each. So to do that, I'm going to set my stop right at 6 inches from the blade. This will guarantee that every board is the same length. I'm now going to cut a 45 on every corner, and I set up another stop block so that I know that all of these will be in the same place. I have the drill press set up to drill a 3/8 inch hole right here, and then when I'm done drilling that hole, I'm going to take the board, reverse it, fit it in, there it is, and drill another hole. So there's going to be 2 holes in each board. And I'm going to be putting small sections of a dowel right in that hole, and that will act as connectors to keep all of these pieces together so that they don't slide apart as I'm stacking them. I'm going to go ahead and countersink a little bit so that it'll make it easier for the dowel to find the center of the hole. It's not pretty, but it works. I'm making sure that every board is cupped in the same direction, so the top is up here and the grain is like that. I have the top piece on the drill press right now, and I have my largest Forstner bit. And I'm going to drill a very shallow hole. It's probably going to be about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit deeper. Actually, looks like it's going to be about 1/2 an inch. And that is going to accept the foot to the bed. And I'm putting it on the back side of this. I don't really want it in the center because that means that the bed would be pulled far away from the wall. So I'm putting it on the back end. And I'll do the same thing on the other top piece as well. These are the only pieces that will get this large hole in it. It's important to use the stop because this hole has to be the exact same depth on both sides, or else the bed will be a little bit out of tilt. I'm doing a test fit now with the 2 dowels stuck all the way through all the holes, and everything seems to line up beautifully, so I think I'm ready to go. The next step is to take these dowels and cut them into about 1-inch little pieces that I'll glue into each section. I'm using foam from a kid's floor tile. The regular foam thickness here is actually too thick for the hole that I drilled out. So I went over to the disc sander and I sanded off all of that texture, and then of course I cut out the holes. And as you can see here, it fits exactly right into the hole. In fact, it's a little bit bigger than the hole, but when you push it in, it kind of conforms to the shape of the hole. The foam provides a place for the leg to rest, since it's going to be kind of at an angle. It also provides a stop so that the bed leg won't slide off at some point. The bottom pieces are not going to have any of these pegs in them because the pegs are going to go down. So I've already put those aside. I'm going to start with the top pieces. Of course, the hole did not go all the way through, it's just on the back side. So this should be pretty easy to do. So I'm just going to put some glue right on the peg and a little bit in the hole. Now, Unfortunately, these dowels are a little bit loose. They're a little bit less than the 3/8 that the drill bit was, but it's all that I had on hand. So I'm really relying on this glue. The good news is that I'm almost never going to take these off of the bed once it's all together, so it's not like this is going to get heavy duty use in and out. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up this glue now, because this would be very hard to clean up after the fact. So you can see that that is sitting up about 1/4 of an inch, maybe just a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. And that's what I'm going to try to get all of the other ones to do. So all of these go on the bottom, which I have not enlarged. Yeah, that's really loose. I think it'll still work though. There's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on it side to side once it's in place. I'm applying a very old finish that's been sitting around my house probably about 8 years or so. It was rather chunky and hard, so I added some mineral spirits to kind of thin it out a little bit, and I think it should be usable. I'm using all of the little triangular cutoffs from the 45-degree angles as my little tripods. 3 of them allow this to sit nice and steady. I am not going to be covering every single surface on these. Instead, I'm mainly focusing on just doing the edges of these, the parts that are seen, because since there'll be a lot of weight compressing these blocks together, I would be afraid that over time that they'll stick together totally if I put a finish on the tops and the bottoms. So the only things that's going to get finished is the sides, and of course the very top one, I'm going to finish that one as well. So I just really want it to soak into that end grain and protect it. Just let it soak in. I think this is going to work. Okay, I'm just taking care of any drips that are here on the back. Trying to smooth them out a little bit. So yes, there is some finish on it. And now, with the top facing up, I'm going to go ahead and do the entire surface of this one. I tend to use way too many brush strokes, so it starts to get a little bit bubbly. I have to take some longer strokes and work those bubbles out. I have a piece of old felt here, leftover scraps, that I'm going to adhere to the bottom of the bottom block, and that will protect the floor a little bit and allow me to move it around. So I'm just going to use a pencil to trace out the shape, and then I'll cut just a little bit inside the line because I don't really want to see this felt. Okay, so that should just fit right on the bottom. I'm using Elmer's Craft Bond glue again, and I've put the felt inside this box lid to kind of keep some of the spray from getting around the workshop here. But I'm going to spray the bottom. And then within 15 seconds, you're supposed to adhere this. So get it nice and centered. And then work it in. And that shouldn't come off. And if I let that dry overnight, it should be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply let it sit, and the weight of the block should let it adhere.
If you want to raise your entire bed, you could just make 2 sets of these blocks. Just make sure that one of the sets has a circle in the center so that it won't topple over. I use the baseboard to kind of support the back of this. Here I have it set up in my parents' guest bedroom. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe.